let's move on. I'm going to talk very, very briefly about the holiday special. You haven't seen it.
Nope.
Is it one you don't plan on watching, or one that you'll randomly watch one day?
It's one that I'll randomly watch one day. Unlike like Werewolf by Night, where I had no interest. I have some interest in watching the holiday special. It's just I didn't even realize that it was out until like 2 days ago when I saw something on Instagram talking about it being out. It's I don't know.
It was
I'm not
good.
really.
It was really fun. It was really fun. It was short and sweet, like Werewolf by Night. It was like less than an hour. Mantis and Drax really, Mantis more so, but she was like essentially the main character, and they really expanded on her character. And I hope that this is like a preview to like the type of character she'll be in the Volume 3 and how much attention she'll get, because she was honestly really dope. And yeah, some very interesting things that I won't spoil were revealed that make sense, and I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Kind of, I don't know how I didn't notice that before, but yeah, it was really fun. It's definitely worth the watch. You'll enjoy it when you see it. It's definitely funny. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I'm not mistaken, is that next year?
I don't know.
I think it might be. But speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, we're just gonna move into video games real quick. I played the Guardians of the Galaxy video game in full. So I started playing it after I watched the Guardians holiday special, because after I played it, I was just in a Guardians of the Galaxy mood, and I was like, I'm gonna finally play that game because it's on Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. So I booted it up, I played it, and I was like, wow, this game is fun. So me and you've had this conversation before. The reason I didn't want to play it, but the reason I didn't play it when it came out or around that time, despite the reviews, were because the reviews were good, is because I stand by this even after playing the game, and honestly, especially after playing the game, that having a Guardians of the Galaxy game where you play as one member of the Guardians of the Galaxy is like the wildest shit in the world. It may not be the exact same, but it's up there with making a Teen Titans game or a Fantastic Four game, and you only play as Robin, or you only play as Mr. Fantastic. That's my opinion, though. It's okay if you disagree, but
I'm not gonna lie, I would kind of love a Teen Titans game like that, because Robin's like the only Teen Titans member I actually like.
Hey,
I'm sorry, it's the truth. I'm sorry.
But I see where you're coming from. But like, when it comes to something like this, where the whole draw of the team is the team, I want to play as the team, not just the leader. But that's just me. I think a lot of people feel that way, but that doesn't change the fact that this game is good. But in a sequel, I would prefer to play as all of them. And the story is amazing. Honestly, the story is very well written. The characters are extremely well written, and they never shut up. And I used to think that was good because I always want to hear what they're saying. The only problem with the fact that they never shut up is that because they never shut up, when you go too far ahead, it will cut off. Yeah, it'll cut off some of their dialogue. And you're like, I was really interested in what they were saying, but because they talk so much, their dialogue is constantly getting cut off by you either moving forward in the story, or you either make a mistake and shoot something and they go, hey, and make a noise and stop speaking. And I'm like, well, that's annoying. I want to hear what they're saying. That's the only annoying part about the fact that they never shut up. Otherwise, I really just enjoy listening to them talk to each other. And the whole player choice aspect that they've added, where like you occasionally have to choose between 2 or 3 things, really helps you feel like the leader, and like feel like, really helps you get immersed into the story. And I like that a lot. So moving on to the one thing that is good, but could be better, the combat. So I've made this comparison before. I'll make it again. I think the best way to make this type of thing work while still having Star-Lord feel like a leader and have the players still feel like a leader is what Final Fantasy VII Remake did. And with Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cloud is the main character. Outside of game combat, you play as Cloud. But when you're in combat, you have the ability to swap between all of your party members and play as them individually, while also being able to issue commands to each individual character, including Cloud when you aren't playing as Cloud. I think doing something like that for a sequel to this game would be amazing, and would help alleviate some of the repetition that you get in the combat, where playing as Star-Lord going around just flying around, dodging and shooting gets boring after a while, and it makes you. He has a melee, but his melee sucks, and it's very unsatisfying. And what's really missing is just a very satisfying type of melee. If he had a melee, maybe I wouldn't care that much, but because he doesn't, and I see Drax and Gamora out there doing cool stuff with their blades, I'm like, I want to do cool stuff with the blade. Maybe the solution is to just give him a good melee weapon, because in the lore, it says that his guns can transform into a melee weapon, but they never do. I thought they were, but they just don't. So, yeah, that never happens. But